fun.
I like comics. I like Legos. I like Lord of the Rings. You don't, so I have to beat your ass.
Okay,
That's
the
fine.
Lord of the Rings you can pitch me on. We're connected? We're live. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back here again with another episode of the Detox Podcast, episode 292 to be exact. If you're new here and you enjoy music, podcasts, comedy, hooping videos, do consider subscribing. We've got a whole bunch of that stuff going on around here. When you do subscribe, leave a like or hang out with us in the live chat. It's going to help us share conversations and laughs like this with more people, so do consider doing that. Now, before I can introduce you guys to my guest this week, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about vacations, vacation time. There's no better place and there's no better way to spend a quick little weekend vacay than with Alpine House 2, today's video sponsor. It's the winter time. The groundhog, I think, just came out. We still believe in that here in Wisconsin, and we're getting 6 more weeks of winter. All right, so why not check out Alpine House 2, which is a classic Swiss chalet duplex A-frame up in the UP right in Iron River, Michigan, directly across the street from the iconic Ski Brûlée Resort in Iron River, Michigan. Surrounded by forests, lakes, rivers, obviously Iron River. Alpine House 2 is the destination for fishing, hunting, hiking, snowmobiling, and now snowboarding as well as skiing because you got the ski resort. They just finished their first few months on Airbnb, been very, very booked up. If you want to check it out between Thursday and Saturday, dude, that's when the resort is super, super popping. It's a great experience. Bring the whole fam or just bring a significant other, whatever. Enjoy yourself. Check out at ALPINEHAUS number 2 on Instagram. That's at Alpine House 2 to stay up to date with renovations, bookings, and more. Tell them Rita Detox sent you, and they will set you guys up. Now, with all the good stuff out of the way, I'm excited to be kicking it with my guest this week. He's a photographer and one of the newest, not that new anymore, but getting into the comedy game as of late. He's been shooting all of Milwaukee comedy for years now. We've got Diego, a.k.a. Trash Pimp, in the building. How are you?
Yeah.
Welcome. The wettest detox, welcome. How are you?
I'm so good.
You're so good.
Oh, well, I'm tired, but yeah, I'm so good.
Yeah, I'm glad you're good because I was a little concerned right before you were set to be here today. I'm checking to make sure. My Instagram for some reason doesn't send me notifications. I think I have to reset it up.
No, it's good that it doesn't.
So,
I have mine turned off.
I know I prefer not to check it, but when I have guests coming and they only have me on Instagram, I'm checking the messages over and over again.
Oh yeah.
And so I reopen up Instagram to check, and then I'm like, okay, I don't have a message. And then I see that you posted on your story. I'm like, okay, maybe he's posting. He's here or he's doing a podcast. And I pull this up, and this is what I see today. It's a fucking humbled car crash. And I'm like, yo, are you okay? And dude, shit has happened before. I was supposed to have a magician on one time, and some kid crashed into a power line outside my house.
Whoa.
I've had other people big family incidents. So I'm like, are you okay?
And what did I say?
And you hit me with, let's see this. Let's see this. Yeah, this happened Saturday. I just need attention. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry,
dude?
shit.
Yo, okay.
And what is the next one? You got to look at the next one.
Okay, what's the next? I think I said.
No, the next post.
Oh, the next post. Yeah,
next
post after this.
Yep. It's just two people in a neck brace, and I just said me and who.
What is going on the story right now?
I'm perfectly fine. I'm fine. I'm tired, but I'm fine. I'm still kicking.
So is that something you do often, where you're just like, you know what? The gram is not popping enough. Let me just throw.
No, today, I actually post too much. I will go through things where I'm like, damn, just shit be happening. I gotta post. Yeah. And then I'm like, no one's watching. Because you probably get it with when you post content. It's there's a fatigue.
Yeah.
Where your followers and your friends, right? I mean, there's some people who do follow you, but then there's people who are your friends.
Yeah.
And they'll watch some of your shit, and then they'll be like, "You're really fucking annoying. I don't want to watch your stories." And I'm like, "No, you're so right."
Yeah.
And I was crazy for a bit where I was like, "I'm only gonna post once every other day because if you've had no activity for a day, then you'll get more watches. It's so stupid."
You're trying to play the algorithm.
And now I'm just shit, I'll post whatever because I'm bored. I don't care.
That you know what it clicked for me on when TikTok was getting banned. That's when I just decided I'm just gonna shit post.
And
man.
Also I'll shit post all day long because I'm doing shit. I'm doing shit.
You're
Don't get
shit to post.
you're I know you're jealous because you're not doing anything and you're just tired of me being out.
So do you ever go into your camera roll and try to find maybe a time you broke your ankle and you just throw that up on the story?
No, I won't be crazy. No,
accident?
it'll be more shit happened and I'm I already know exactly what this is gonna look like on the gram.
Mm.
You
crashed into that car on
Saturday
and you're I'm gonna save this for Monday.
God, I wish I didn't. No, that shit's gonna be expensive. But
yeah.
no, but it happened and then I was like, the whole thing was like I was gonna show up. I knew I was gonna show up to like a mic later, and people probably see my car and were gonna ask me something. And I was like, I'd rather just like get this out of the way by posting something that like people can just like start talking. I'm like, whatever. Like I don't.
Yeah. Get it.
I'm nuts like that though. Like I think I'm more perceived probably than I actually am.
Yeah.
Most times, but then there's stuff that happens where I'm like, no, people are perceiving me more than I even want to be.
Okay. How can you tell then, as someone who's done it? How can you tell or spot when somebody's posting just for attention?
That's all it's for.
But okay, I guess technically all of it. But how can you tell if someone's like trying to, in the same way of you posting this card, get ahead of it, whatever? How can you tell?
I don't know.
What are the tells? Like there's like a guy who like posts a plant on his story, like he just got a new. He's never owned a plant. He just bought a plant.
I think there are
trying to make people swipe up and be like, oh my god, you're so good with plant. No, bro, doing that shit for
I
attention.
do think that people think they're more interesting than they actually are, and so they're posting stuff and they're like, oh my god, I got a cool plant.
Yeah.
And they think they're interesting. Well, there's people who have interesting lives who are just like, I don't fucking want to do this.
Yeah. When I'm doing cool shit, I do post less. It's not until the only time like I'm
a post the day after. I had a friend tell me once like, never post when you're there.
Yeah.
One, because like it is weird. Like there's a whole safety thing, and I have had like stalkers in the past. And I'm just like I just don't like. I'll post about shit after I'm like I've left the premises. I'm like an hour away.
Yeah.
Like you can't find me.
Yeah, you have people stalking you.
There was weird. Like there was a weird point in time where like people would like constantly make fake accounts. Like,
did you ever run into these people in person?
I don't know if I did necessarily.
Weirder,
yeah. And so like I'm kind of like, what's crazy is for as much as I post, I think people think they know more about me than they actually do.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I do like to create like false narratives for people.
Wow, okay.
Like for a while, I was telling people like, oh, I've like moved to Chicago. Today, I was going to post, after I posted that cart, I was like, this is what happens when I move to Chicago. Because I had just spent the weekend there. Yeah. I had just spent the weekend there, and I thought it's like the beginning of the month. I'm like, it'd be really funny if I like convince people
that you just live in Chicago.
That I just live in Chicago now.
Yeah. That's okay.
And that happens to me. And then people are like, do you live in Chicago now? And I'm like, no, why do you think that?
Yeah.
I'm totally gaslighting them.
Gaslight them for fun, man. Just enjoyment. Just enjoyment.
I don't know. I just like the idea of like being an online personality and like having like a character.
Sure.
That's like not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like I like having a persona on like on stage, on like in online. That's just like. Here's this weird guy who's like,
you're creating entertainment for us, dude.
It really, I mean, that's what it is. It's like I just want people to be entertained, and then I post shit that's like really sincere, and I'm like, that's gay. Like I shouldn't do that. Like,
you're like, that's fucking dumb.
I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, now I'm like being authentic, and now it's like real, and now people like know how I actually feel, and I don't want that. Like I want like people that I care about to know that like I care about them and stuff, and like I'll post sincere stuff.
Sure.
But then I'm like, okay, now
you gotta triple down on some wild narrative.
Yeah, now
shit.
I gotta do some dumb shit so I like don't feel all. Yeah,
I get that. Okay,
so I hate that I think about this so much.
Yeah,
it's all so dumb. It's so dumb.
You're in it. You're ballsy. I mean, I feel like I'm online a lot because I have to post so much all the time, and I'm like, this is a new level here.
I'm posting like every day, and it's like bad shit.
Yeah. I mean, but it's fun.
It is fun. Yeah.
Do you ever get in beefs with people online?
No,
never.
I like to pretend like to have beef with people.
Yeah, who's someone you've pretended to have beef with?
Well, so I'm. I told everyone that I'm straight now in 2025. In the political climate, I'm like, I gotta make some changes. So I'm like, I'm straight now and I'm white. So this is what I'm doing now. And
has that worked at all? Has it helped you out?
Yes, but like in the way that you wouldn't think it would.
Ooh, okay.
But I posted on my story Friday. I went to the dentist, and then I went to go get coffee, and I held the door open for someone, and she didn't say anything. So I posted on my story like, I hope this woman like has a bad day. Like I hope if she's not going through something already. Like I'm like, you not saying thank you for me holding the door open for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe you're going through some shit.
Yeah.
And like you're having a bad day.
Let's hope.
I'll give you that. And if you're not, you better now. Because I'm mad.
Was this at the coffee place?
Yeah, I was just like holding. It was like
You should.
And then so I posted that, and then one of my friends, she responded, and she's like, "Oh, how classic of a man to like want a woman to thank her.
Yeah.
To thank him for holding the door open. And then I just crazily responded like, all these women, they're like so masculine now. They think they can do whatever they want. Yeah. And like, it's kind of embarrassing that like she didn't like thank me for like me being able to like take care of her. And it's just like this, and it's like this, we just did this like fake beef, but I love doing shit like that where it's like just pretending to be like insane.
Just unprompted role play as an alpha red pill.
Right.
Man,
right. Like that's fun for me. Like I love doing stuff like that. Or else it's either that or I'm in the comments like, yeah, slay queen, like you're really popping off. And it's like the straightest man you've ever met and he's like, thanks.
He's like, stop, please.
Yeah.
Do you ever get in trouble with this? I have certain friends of mine, like we will do a similar thing, and like sometimes it might slip out in public where like we're joking with each other.
Yeah.
And maybe someone else overhears what we're saying and they're like, wait, are these guys misogynists? Like you guys?
Oh, me?
I'm like, wait, this guy doesn't know what we're talking about.
Me? I hope they do.
Yeah?
I hope they do think so.
Really?
Yeah. I'm saying slurs out in the wild.
Okay.
I'm like, F that fucking
slurs for your protection.
Yeah. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I wonder, you know what? You might draw in a new audience for your comedy by doing that.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal.
Yeah.
Is like to flip the narrative. I don't know.
Yeah. What if you get them to all love you?
Well, like I do have a joke about this, and it's like so corny, and everyone's like, "Don't talk about jokes." I don't fucking care. But I have like this kind of material where I write from the like I say certain trigger words, like I say gay and like the F slur, whatever, and I know that people are gonna laugh at it, and they do laugh at it, and then I turn on them by being like, yeah, of course you all laughed at this. You're classically conditioned to believe these words are punchlines.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get to say it and I know they're going to laugh at it, but then I can call them out on the fact that this isn't even actually a joke. Yeah, and the joke is actually that you think that's funny. Yeah. And then I like double down on like some other like shit where it's like, it's just like I like fucking with the idea of like what this appropriate language is, and as a gay person saying I'm saying these words and I'm tricking you into thinking that it's okay for you to laugh, but then I'm gonna make fun of you for thinking that that's even funny.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of it, but then I also approach energy very like low energy, where it's like I don't do like this, especially like being gay and Mexican is such a like super boisterous characters, and it's like I don't like that. I hate that that's a stereotype. Yeah. And I don't like watching comedy like that necessarily.
Are there a lot of gay Mexican comics?
I mean, there's a lot of gays and there's a lot of Mexicans.
Sure.
And
I don't know any other gay Mexican comics though, personally.
Well, no, I mean, but it's not that. It's like both of those things combined, where like both of them are like naturally boisterous characters on stage, and it's like I just don't want to do that. So it's like all about just like fucking with the status quo, and that pulls in people who like really like don't feel like they're represented by what's normally available. But then it also like in a sense it's crazy like how many straight men do come up to me, they're like, oh, that was like really funny, like I like you got me, but like you have a point. Like it's like this stuff where it's like it opens other people up to you in a way.
It's interesting too when you make people laugh the way that you can reach them on even topics like that, like right where it's like to you it maybe is something so silly, and then like obviously like you are giving them a little bit of trash on it, right? You're shaming them a little bit, but like you're not like necessarily trying to make a crazy big statement. But some some gym bro that's just in the audience that one time he's gonna be like, wait, actually, and that's his epiphany, like, wait, I should treat gay people like with respect. It's like holy shit.
It's I eventually turned the joke. I mean, there's so much tension when you do stuff like that. And so, right, comedy's all about creating and releasing tension, right? Yeah. And so when I, like, come out of it, I just, like, use a character to, like, super, like, relieve the tension. So there is no, I don't actually take a moral stance. It's like make them think that I'm going to, and then the punchline just isn't even that. And then that's a whole other kind of relief that they feel, because then it's like they realize that I'm actually just kind of like fucking with them. It's like I have you by the balls, and it's like I could turn on you right now, but it's like I'm not going to, because that's not what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that like you should be really preaching when you do comedy. It's just not
you're
fun.
just helping them drop their guard so that they can have a good time and enjoy the experience.
Yeah, and then like they start putting it back up, and I'm like making you put it back up, and I'm like, just fucking with you. Like it's fine, it's fine.
How do you you've been doing comedy now for a while, but prior to that and still ongoing, you've been like taking pictures of everybody in the comedy scene.
Yeah.
I
try to get everyone.
How did this happen? How did you get into taking pictures of the Milwaukee stand-up scene, and now even more than that?
Yeah, it's like really crazy, and I know my friends who've heard the story like so many times are like, shut the fuck up. But yeah,
fuck them, bro. I don't know the story. So
yeah, it was like this might get too long, but like long story short, like I had a friend who I'd met like kind of online, who was supposed to do comedy here in Milwaukee, but because of COVID, the show didn't happen. And we just like stayed in touch online and stuff. He finally came back, and it was my first time ever watching live comedy. Like I had never gone to a club. I had never like gone to an open mic, anything. Really? I just went to go watch him because I saw his clips on YouTube and I thought they were funny.
Yeah.
And then we ended up just like getting along, and we went out to like the art museum the next day. Like we just like were friends. And then he was in Chicago, like I think he did like Milwaukee and then Chicago, and then I was like, oh, like I'll come down to Chicago, like shit, I don't have anything to do, like I'll just come hang out. And he's like, because at that time I was doing street photography, so he's like, oh yeah, just like bring your camera. He's like, just come bring your camera. And so I brought it, and he's like, yeah, just like photograph whatever. And like at the moment, it's things that you don't know the context of, so you don't know how cool some of the shit that you do is. But like it was the first club that I ever photographed at was Zany's Old Town, like Chicago Zany's Old Town, which is like a pretty iconic club.
It's a pretty well known spot.
Yeah, it's like I mean there's a Zany's conglomerate, right? But like Zany's Old Town is like a spot.
Yeah.
And like I love the staff. Like ever since then, like I've loved the staff, and I've like just been so cool with them. And yeah, it just kind of, that was like my first experience doing it. Like I wasn't trying to do it.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of happened. And then after a while, like I've started going to like open mics, and I really wanted to try to get good at like photographing stand up. I originally thought I was going to maybe end up photographing music, and that was going to be my thing.
Yeah.
But then like, I don't know, I just started to like fall in love with like being around comedy, and just like you're at a thing, you're having so much fun, and like it's a pretty social thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like yeah, and I just ended up doing that. I started photographing at the Laughing Tap a bunch, and then now I just photograph kind of wherever people ask me to be. Like there's a couple of weekends in the year that like get pretty dry, but like I'm pretty booked and busy like every weekend now. That was my goal last year. My goal last year was like be busy every weekend, like have something to do every weekend, whether it's stand up, like actually performing, or whether it's like photographing.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
and now you're doing it.
And now I'm like doing it, which is like really, really cool, because you just meet so many people, and like
yeah. Well, not to be lame and sincere, but congrats. It's pretty sick to have set that goal, and now you're doing it.
Yeah, you know? Thank you. Like it's just I didn't think that was gonna happen.
What's like the weirdest shit? Like as someone who's like being in and around the like comedy scene is its own beast and its own interesting thing. What is different from shooting that versus shooting musicians or shooting street photography? Like what do you find that's maybe difficult or interesting?
Yeah, the one, like the venues, right? So like clubs, like comedy clubs are so, it's so weird, because like comedians, unless they're like upper echelon like comics, they want to go out and they want to hang out and they want to like kind of meet people in the scene if they're cool, right? Like, and I'm talking about like, you know, I told you like before we started recording, like I just like when people are cool and they want to like hang out and they're decent, right? And so like that happens so much more, whereas like with music I never felt that. Like some like places are like really weird for music, of like, oh, you can't go shoot in the green room, which is like crazy, because like normally in like
those are
comedy,
the coolest shots.
Normally in like comedy, it's like very normal that we do that.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you're like with the only time that year that you see them. And so like if you're back in a green room with them and you can take photos of the only time that year that you see them. And so like if you're back in a green room with them and you can take photos of them, they get so hyped about that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we never get to be like on a show together because we don't.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we never get to be like on a show together because we don't live in the same city. And so like,
well, I'm just thinking like if I'm talent, right, and I had booked you or asked you to be there or brought you with me to take photos of me, and then the venue is like, no, not in here. I'd be like,
so that's what's so
I'd be like, well, you didn't pay this fucking photographer to be here, so I paid him, so he's gonna take pictures of me.
So in that case, yeah, they're usually fine, right?
Yeah.
In that case, it's like when it's the headliner and stuff, and they're just like, go, like, come with me. You're all access
then
pass
the venue
to whatever.
shuts out.
And then the venue won't say anything. But if you're just like, I don't know, like I've had some instances where it's like, I do this like for not like a living, but like I do this professionally.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm asking because I know that this is like gonna be a cool thing. Like you could pull something cool.
Yeah.
For like your venue and shit, and it's like they're so.
That's weird.
Because like I've never forced relationship either. I will never, like there are comics and stuff who I really like, or I really enjoy watching, or they're really high profile, and I get to be in a green room with them or whatever it is, but we're not on the same wavelength. So it's like I'm gonna take my photos and I'm gonna say hi, be nice, we'll send them to you through the club, whatever, and then I'm out. Like
you're not gonna be all pick me and be like, oh, this person's more important than me right now, so let me just suck up and try to be friends with
it's
them.
just because it's so transparent. Like people pick up on that, and like I just don't ever want to be like that. Like I want to be with people who I get along with, who I can hang out with, where it's like they're having a good time. It's not just like me like in a situation where I get to feel cool. It's like they need to be having a good time because ultimately you want them to come back to your city.
Yeah.
Right? You never want a touring comic to like, you never want them to have a sour taste of your city. Like you don't want them to have a sour taste in their mouth for Milwaukee. And like shit has happened like in with
shit you've heard? Shit
like
you've heard?
I've heard shit where like there was an organization, so it wasn't like a club or like who had a comedian who like brought a comedian for some festival, brought them on, and just worked independently with this other theater. Yeah. Didn't work with like any of the other comedy clubs, anyone nearby, and they got like a driver, like they had like this driver for them or whatever. The driver ends up being like super fucking creepy and like is like asking for tickets to the show for him and his girlfriend, and then afterwards he's like texting because obviously needed the number to be able to like communicate, so he's calling the performer, and it's like
those people do ruin it for everybody, man.
They do, and it's like you don't want that shit to be like in your like you don't want that to be like the image for your city. Like that sucks.
Especially these national acts, like right, like they don't. Some people skip Milwaukee on their tours; they just go to Chicago.
Always,
they're just like, I'll just add a second night in Chicago, and people will come out, you know. And it is sad. I remember even seeing we went to see Bad Friends live a year and some change ago when they were in town. And I don't know when the last time they were in town was or when the next time they're gonna fucking be in town was. And I was so annoyed that people like Bobby Lee, you never get to see his actual stand up because he refuses to film a special. And it's like during his set, they each only were doing like 20 minutes, and then it was like the podcast. People are fucking like heckling him, yelling random quotes from the podcast at him. And I'm like, and he stopped one of his bits mid-bit to just like make fun of them. And I'm like, yo, that's great for you, you fucking child, that you just wasted 10 minutes of the only time any of us are ever going to see Bobby Lee live. But like, I hope he doesn't think like, oh, Milwaukee's a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, because that's what it was, just like people just yelling, Bobby's mom, Bobby mom, Bobby mom. And it's like, dude.
It fucking blows. Like,
let him do the set.
I mean, that's part of the problem of like TikTok and like all this shit, like reels for comedy, where it's like people all feel like they need to be a part of it, and it's like you fucking don't. Yeah. And some people they don't write like that. Like I don't do crowd work. I don't write comedy that is
for crowd work. Yeah.
For crowd work. Like I'm a very scripted, like really written out comic. Like that's how I do my comedy. I'm not doing this crazy. Yeah. Which power to people who can do that.
Well, and crowd work is cool. Like I think it's cool in like for maybe like how.
And also it feels way more like in the moment to people than I think they realize sometimes. So it's like I think it's great like if a comic doesn't want to, like it's a great way for comics to get people to come see them, right? Because it's like,
okay, I don't want to waste any of my jokes and post my jokes online, but like
Yes,
I can
you don't want to burn material online, especially if you're like working on a special or like you
Yeah.
got something where
it's like, let me keep my name buzzing, but I'm just gonna do this at the end of all my sets. Like I'll just save a couple minutes to do this. That's great, but I do think people get this like skewed perception of like, oh, that's all stand-up comedy is, and they go to their first comedy show and then they just start yelling shit. They're like, let me make this about me right now. There's 500 people in here, but I want it should be about me.
I think I just think that like it does set like a precedent for people that they think that that's what comedy, especially if like that's their only like avenue or exposure to it, right? It's like they think that that's normal, but it's like not. And so they're like, oh, like, you know, there's a comedy club near me and like I'm gonna go watch comedy, whatever. And then they think that that's like what that is, and it's like not.
Yeah, no. Like if somebody is asking for it, like if a comic is like says they're doing it,
if the comic is literally just like a crowd work comic, which there are, and some of them are very, very good and very talented. Yeah. And they're gonna tell you, like, they can handle anything. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy the shit those kinds of comics can handle. Yeah. Because it like once you kind of open the floodgate, it's like
wild shit starts coming out. It's like people will confess like way too much, man.
Oh, 100%. I saw this tweet once and it was like, do people know when a comic asks you a question, you can just lie? Yeah, like no one's fact checking you.
Yeah, dude. Like people are way too honest, man. Like they just start admitting shit that they just don't need to admit.
What's the craziest sex story? Like I don't know. Like there was spaghetti involved. Like, see, you can just make that up and it's like funny, but it's not true. So you don't have to like live with actual guilt. Yeah. Like I don't know. Like make something up. Yeah.
It's always like you see like a crowd. You ever see like a clip of some crowd work and like a dude or a chick will like admit something like about their partner.
And the person next to them is like,
the person that like brought them there is sitting there like
they're shook.
Like, bitch, I bought these tickets. Why are you telling this man my business right now? Yeah,
I brought my mom with us. Like, this is crazy that you're saying this.
Yeah, like, why are you telling them this? You know, I don't know. I think that that is wild. We got Brielle in the chat says, I love Diego, favorite quality engineer ever.
Who said that?
Brielle says this. Her sister.
Brielle DeSico? That's really funny. See, this happens to me.
What the fuck is going on, bro? This happens
to me. I'm telling you.
We were before we went live. We'll talk about it later. But everybody knows you. I
don't know how. I'm like 1 degree removed from like everyone. It's insane.
This
happens to me all the time. Yeah. All the time.
That is wild. We got somebody asking if it's lagging. Is it lagging? I don't think we got okay connection right now. I think. Yeah.
Are we lagging? Just call me ugly. Shit.
Okay. Has there ever been a big mishap in taking pictures of the Milwaukee comedy scene? Any big mishaps on your part or okay? You got a story for us?
I have like one where I was shooting a don't tell.
Oh, those are cool.
Which the thing that like sometimes is what's really cool about shooting a club weekend is, or even just a night where there's 2 shows, is I like the way that I prep sometimes is like I'll watch a comic, I'll look at what they post and kind of see, are they like mostly reels or are they mostly photos? I kind of get an idea of like whether or not they're even gonna like care when I send them photos. So there's like that, and then I try to watch any clips to see what mannerisms they have when they perform, so I can be kind of like ready, or like I'll try to like find clips where like I know they have like a really popular joke that they do, and see if like there's like an act out, so I can anticipate like some animation in how they perform. Yeah. And if I don't get to do that kind of like homework beforehand, then normally I will go to like an early show and like watch the early show and just watch the early show and then shoot the late show after I kind of like can anticipate like what they're going to be doing on stage. So it's like I can kind of get a better feel for them too, like how crazy are they? Like if I post this crazy photo, if it gets posted, are they gonna be pretty cool with it? Or like if I show them this, are they gonna think it's like crazy? They're gonna hate it.
Just kind of feel them out a little bit before.
I've had a photographer a comedian once. When I first like started, I went up to her and was like, "Hey, like, are you totally okay with me like shooting tonight?" And she was like, "Yeah, just like don't make me look crazy, because like every male photographer makes me look fucking insane." And I was like, "Okay." And so I got photos of her, and she was like, "Thank you." Wow. And like that's like,
is she a little insane or no?
No. Okay. I mean, she just like has a very like expressive face. Oh. And so like some people have really expressive faces. Some people are very like kind of monotonous. Yeah. And so they're not really that interesting to photograph, but there's some people who are, but then they don't want to be perceived as like kind of looking crazy or anything. Yeah. And so, yeah, and now when she like has been through town, like I get to see her and like it's like nice, right?
Yeah.
She like feels seen, and it's like really nice to be able to do that. And so, yeah, normally it's like a club weekend or like I'm doing an early show and a late show. Don't tells are kind of unique in the sense that like you, depending on what city you're in, or how big the don't tell network is in the city that you're in, it's usually like a show.
Yeah.
It's one show, so it's like you get that one time to just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the lighting might be trash, and because it's always in these crazy places that
aren't like traditionally set up for comedy or events,
right,
maybe all the time,
or to be photographed, and so it pisses me off. Like I love doing don't tell, Judd, I promise I love doing don't tell, but sometimes it's just like so haunted, the rooms that we have to photo. I tell them all the time, I'm like,
yeah,
you guys bring me to the most haunted rooms to do
Really?
this. And but it's like it's a nice challenge to do that. It's like, and that's what's so cool. It's like you get to learn all these like skills doing stuff like that, and that's what I really appreciate about
but
it.
it still is a challenge.
But it's a
what you're
challenge,
saying.
yeah, and it's like hard, and like I get stressed because I'm like, am I gonna get something that I think is worth what they're paying for? And so that just really stresses, especially when it's a paid gig.
Yeah.
Like it really stresses me out when it's like a room that's like not well lit or it's like hard to shoot in,
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't want to under deliver, especially when it's like especially when it's like a contracted thing.
Yeah.
And
so what happened?
so I literally am shooting the show, and it's like one of my favorite rooms that I actually am like I'm like, this room is cool as hell, like shit,
Yeah.
I'm into this. The photos, I'm like, they look great. Memory card corrupts mid shoot. And I like, as the headliner is on, I lose all of the other performers' photos.
Really?
And I'm like cold sweat, like immediate cold sweat. And I'm like luckily, like everyone is so nice. And I was just like, yeah, I was so
What do you
upset.
do the rest of the night, dude?
I just like, I'm going to get you the photos of the headliner. And I'd like, that's it. I'm like, don't pay me. Like, I can't even, like, I don't even care about the time. Like at this point, like I'm never going to be like, oh, well, like I spent my time being here. Like whatever. Like, it's like, no, I didn't deliver what I needed to deliver for this. Like,
holy cow.
So,
Were you able to sleep? Oh my god, I feel like
I immediately the next day went and bought like a bunch of new like memory cards, and now I actually run 2 memory cards where one's a backup and it's always backing up. So I'd like I'm shooting raw and I'm always backing up a JPEG of it.
Nice.
And so that's what I do now, because it's like I can't
ever again.
No, I can't have that shit happen again.
That's how you learn though.
But
right?
it like the stress of that, where I was like,
I can imagine.
fuck. And then I still had to go shoot like another show afterwards.
Oh.
And the entire time that I'm doing that, I'm like,
yeah, dude. Like Jesus
I'm like,
Christ.
look, I'm like, don't freak out on me, camera. Like it was just,
you're
it
just
was
praying to the camera gods at that point, dude.
honestly like the memory card gods,
Yeah.
But it was, that is like the worst thing that I've had happen to me, like in like photographing comedy, because usually it's pretty chill, it's really laid back. But
that's so scary though. It's the worst. Like at least, I mean, it sucks. Maybe it's worse knowing it then. I've had it. I've done a shoot where like we were doing some video content for a small business, and like it was like a 3-hour shoot, and the first like 40 minutes is great, and then all of a sudden like halfway through the footage,
it's corrupted.
No, the mic. I had him with like a wireless mic, and he like moved his shirt at some point, and I never caught it, and he like flipped the lavalier inside out.
So you lost audio, like.
So audio's trash for the whole other 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell. I had like backup audio like off the camera, but I'm like, that's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I sat there.
I've seen that happen a lot though, where like the audio gets kind of messed up on stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god,
it's
so
horrible.
terrible.
No, and like I also hate when you like, I've done headshots, and when I do them, it's like I'm thinking about so many things, but there's some things that like when I start editing, I'm like, fuck, I should have had them do this with their hair or like something, where it's like now you have to go in there and like edit like every like hardcore edit like every photo. Yeah. But I've done that, and it's like it's one of those things where you're in the moment, you're just not even paying attention to it, and then you're like editing and you're looking at it and you're like, damn, maybe I have to sit with this now.
Yeah, it makes me like respect, like, I mean, on the level, like I'm doing like social media content for people, right? And like, and maybe you're doing headshots or whatever. It does make me respect like the fact that movies have directors. Like they have a director and they have a director of photography. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
shooting it. I'm watching. I'm making sure you're doing what I want you to do. Like that's how you catch stuff like that. But when you're just doing everything, like you're probably setting up the lights at these shoots. You're probably doing all the camera work.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're creative directing.
Mm-hmm.
So like of course you're gonna fucking miss, some really easy thing. Like,
Yeah.
you're sitting there at the camera or at the computer, like, dude.
That's why I just love being like able to be like in at a club.
Yeah.
Where it's like I know what the lighting is every single time. I know like this is.
Yeah.
I know where I can stand in the room. I know what shots and what angles I'm gonna get, and like so it lets me tune into what I'm doing because there's all this other stuff that I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
Where like I'm not fighting the light. I'm not trying to like figure out what the best exposure to like the best like ISO to shutter speed is gonna be, because it's already there. So I can like really
focus on the creative.
Focus on just like doing what is like the fun part, which is like. Yeah. Getting to capture someone being like expressive or like doing comedy, and trying to like capture who they are as a comedian on stage, so like they feel seen. I don't know. Yeah.
So now that you've been shooting comedy for a while, and you're shooting a lot of people in the scene, and you're telling me you're busy now.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago, and I'm like a backup for Madison.
Yeah,
so
you're
I'm, like,
running around.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Do people ever like maybe get in their chest or like, Diego, why don't you ever shoot me? Why don't you ever take pictures of me? People ever get sad?
Not necessarily. I don't like people get that like now I'm just like busy as hell.
Yeah.
And like you can't ask me like the day before.
Yeah.
To come do something. Like people do that. Comics notoriously. They're like, hey, can you do this? And I'm just like, I've been booked for like. I'm booked out like 2 months right now, so it's like unless you can tell me what's going on in like May or April, are
you doing it again in May maybe?
yeah, and so it's like
that's funny.
But I try to like carve out. I'm pretty like cognizant about like watching what people post, like I know that this show's coming out, and they might not necessarily invite me now or like ask me to, but like I'll just come through and like I'll just shoot the show.
Yeah.
Especially like my whole thing is like I do a lot of photography for free. Because like I just believe in the scene, and I love my scene. Like I love the comedy scene so much, and I think that people should be more aware of what's going on. Yeah. And like I think everyone has a right to feel seen, like professionally for like what they do, like not just like a grainy iPhone photo. Right? Where it's like they can feel like, oh, like what I do is actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Because
like,
it is cool.
It is. And it's like like we don't have that many photographers here, and like I'm really the only one who's doing stand up in Milwaukee, who's like I'm like the only stand up photographer in Milwaukee. We had a couple, and they're not around anymore. They moved out. Sarah Nelson she's in LA now, but yeah, she was here, and then it was kind of us, and now no one in Milwaukee proper really does it, and so I'm like everyone should get to feel like they have something really special going on for them, like even if it's like not a great show or it's like not super packed out, it's like it's still you're doing it, and I think I think you should feel seen, and like you should have nice photos that you can show people, like, hey, I do this stuff, and like you're not like ashamed to show them these photos because they're not just like some iPhone photo of you like all blurry and shit, but it's like, oh, you can actually show your family or your friends, your family, like you're doing this. Or when you start getting more comfortable and you're writing more and you need to go submit to like a festival or like a show, whatever it is, like you have something that you can give them that you're like, oh, here's me doing comedy, like, and it like helps validate that you are like a performer in a way.
Allowing people, it's sort of building. I'm sure at one point, maybe prior to you being as busy as you are now, it was building your resume up as a photographer, and also you're helping. You're genuinely just providing a service and a good to everybody in the scene that they can then use to basically build on their own resume, right? When they're submitting EPKs or like they're trying to get booked or having. There are places I know in like on the music side of things, right? Like people want like good couple quality images from you if you're like looking to book a show. Maybe they want some video that they can use for Instagram ad or whatever. So like having that from somebody just in the scene, like that's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just
doing it with people that you like.
Yeah, and I just love the scene, and like I think as long as you have a show that I know that you believe in, that you're gonna keep putting the effort into, even if it's not making all the money that you can make to pay me for that, like I will, like I'll just come shoot the show, like, and it's like the same thing with like the Laughing Tap, where it's like they opened during COVID, and so it's like it's kind of hard to open a comedy club during that. And so it's like they didn't have a photographer. So I was like, I want to learn how to do this, but then also like kind of help out in a way.
Help build
right?
it. Build
yeah.
something. Yeah.
And so it's like the only independent comedy club like in Milwaukee, right? There's like the Improv and there's the whole Pabst Theater Group network, right? But they can afford, right, to hire truly as many photographers as they want. But like when you have like this small like indie club, right? Like it's like you want to be able to support them and also all these local producers who put shows together like all month long. Like we have so much comedy that happens here. Yeah. And it's like people, I want people to be more aware of that.
Yeah, and I think that you having like the foresight to be like, I want to build something, which you have, I feel like build a community, and there's probably a crazy amount of connections that you've made with people, like, and genuine friendships too.
Yeah, it's like insane. Like I can't believe, I mean, I got to spend the weekend with my friend Evan Hull out of Chicago, and he's someone that I met at like shooting my first comedy festival here.
Really?
And like I literally like love that guy so much, and like this weekend he had me photograph the Don't Tells in Chicago on Saturday night, and he was like, yeah, you guys come through and like just come spend the night. Yeah. And it's like, and then we got coffee in the morning, got to play with his dog, and it's like, hang out with his girlfriend.
Like, it's genuine.
Yeah, it's like so real. Yeah. And it's like the opportunities and like the stuff like that has happened because of this is like I would not trade that for fucking anything in the world. Like there's a lot of like obviously like generally just like networking for business, but then there's stuff that's like just comes out of it naturally that's so beautiful that and
I would argue none of that would happen if it wasn't for someone like yourself being like, I'm just gonna kind of bite the bullet now. And not that you were biting a bullet, like taking some sacrifice, but you were just like, dude, I just genuinely want to do this. I'm doing it for the right reasons. Whereas like maybe some people are short-minded and they're like, I gotta get this $50 for the shoot from this comic. Like, it's like, sure, that's cheap, but like also like this comic's not making any money and you're not really getting booked all that much. Why not like, just take some dope photos for him, build your resume, build his resume.
That's so
and you build something like, way cooler,
That's 100% it, where it's like, and like I always think about like how I give back, because I also feel kind of bad because I used to do a lot of like music photography, and like I would go to like gallery night like every quarter, and I would like take photos and share a bunch, and I just am so busy with comedy that like that's all I do, that I do always feel like I'm neglecting all these other scenes as well that I also really, really care about. Like I really love our jazz scene here.
Well, someone else got to step up, man. We can't just have Trash Pimp photograph.
No, I know, and there's a lot of amazing photographers, I think, but I don't know that. And I don't really ever want to give shade on anyone, but because there are a lot of like really cool niche photographers in this city who like they're really with the scene. They're like with their scene. They promote their scene. They love their scene, regardless of how big or small the show is. They're gonna be there. They're gonna show up. They're gonna photograph. They're gonna do whatever. Like Alley Cats, right? Like with the the cycling, like the bike community. Like there's so many cool photographers here and there, but then there's like some where it's like I can tell that like you don't have a passion for your community. And so like I don't know. There's so many.
They get kind of bigger than the community.
Yeah, there's like there's a couple of niches that I really love that I'm like I wish I could like be two people with like I could be everywhere like at once, but I can't. And like comedy has just been like such a thing that's like given me so much community, like so genuinely, and like, and sometimes when you do like a lot of like art stuff, you can meet a lot of like pretentious people where it's like I just have a hard time sometimes connecting with other creatives because it's like they take it so seriously for like like a career, which is like it's a valid dream, but it's like that's just not how I operate, right?
I think you could you just a difference between like you could take the thing seriously, but like if you take yourself too serious, that's where like we were talking about off air.
I talk so seriously about what I do, but I also like am so fucking dumb. Like I don't give a shit about shit sometimes. It's like sometimes I like meet people where I'm like, I need you to calm down. Like I talk so seriously about like comedy and like and like this. But then at the same time I'm like, but also so dumb.
But like also we're talking. Also, we're talking before we go live, and you're like, "I want Red Bull to sponsor my podcast."
I do want Red Bull to sponsor my podcast. Also, Liquid Death sponsor this one. Shit.
Yeah. Come on, I've been giving Liquid Death out to podcast guests for like 3 years.
I don't know people, but I know people who know people, and like I don't know, maybe we can make something happen.
We'll make it happen. I literally enjoy Liquid Death. It's solid water, and I give it to everybody when they come to the show. But with your show, You have a podcast. Who's your co-host, by the way?
Sarah Critchfield.
Shout out Sarah, dude.
Shout out Sarah.
We're gonna have to have Sarah come on one time.
Have her on
we'll,
here. She's
we'll talk
crazy.
some shit. Yeah, you guys are crazy.
She's nuts.
I've listened to some
she's
clips.
Nuts.
Yeah.
We go ape shit.
Would she be cool with the? Does she drink Red Bull too? Are you guys both?
No, I
chugging?
don't think she. No, she doesn't drink Red Bull.
Would you butt chug a Red Bull?
Would I butt chug a Red Bull?
Yeah, if we set that up.
No.
No?
Wait.
What if they were like?
Do straight people butt chug Red Bull?
No, they don't. I don't think. But
then
they
no.
butt chug other things.
Yeah. So, whatever's. I'll do whatever's good for the brand. Shit.
Sure. If Red Bull was like, that's what's stopping us from committing.
Yeah.
You would do it.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Red Bull.
We could. They probably have a Red Bull funnel somewhere.
Red Bull. I would love to butt chug some Red Bull.
Let's go, dude.
I'm in it.
Hell yeah. You
I'm
have to
in
come
it.
back here to do it, though. I would love to see it here. We'll do it.
I'll
do it
just-
on the show.
Yeah, I'll just tell you that I did it.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. So how long you been doing your guys' show, though? You and Sarah?
We started it October last year, so
Yeah.
I think we're our 4th episode. We just do it monthly.
Okay.
Obviously, like I'm so busy,
Yeah.
and like Sarah was like in grad school, and it was just kind of nuts. So we're just like, we want to up it, but like, yeah, we need to figure something out, like workflow wise or something.
Streamline it a little bit. So it's
Yeah,
easier.
and like we don't make any money on it, so like if I'd like to have someone who could like help us with it,
Yeah.
like who could put clips together and do stuff like that. I can't pay you because we don't make any money on the
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
but like it'd be nice to like have something like that where like we could make more content. But I don't know. We're just having fun. Yeah.
Do you guys how did you decide to do one? Because there's already there's the meme that not everybody needs a podcast. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
way too many. Trust me, I get that all the time. So
No.
what was the poll
I don't get that
for
at
you guys?
all. That's crazy. I'm sorry.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
You're just that much. You'll get there. Trust me, you guys will get there. Give me
No, 100%.
What was the poll? How long you guys known each other?
So at the time we had known each other now for a year. So she's like she started coming out to the comedy scene, and that's obviously how we met, and that's kind of what our life is. And so yeah, I mean, and we also live around the corner from each other, so we just like hang out. It's crazy because we will go like 2 weeks without seeing each other, and then there'll be like a weekend where like we just like live together.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's kind of the nature of it. Or like I saw her last night, we'll probably see her tonight, and so it's like
Yeah.
it's a very like
streaky.
yeah
Nice.
which I'm okay with because like we both are very like not like manic, but it's like we get like really hyper about something, and then we're like so high energy, and then we kind of crash and we come down, and so like
You guys can ride that high together.
yeah,
And then go crash
and then crash
separately.
out together. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so wonderful
Perfect.
to have someone like that. But yeah, we just decided like when we talk, we just say the craziest shit with each other, and she's so naturally conversationally funny.
Mhm.
Like the things she says, and she's like a couple years younger than me, so it's kind of nice to have like a Gen Z perspective
Yeah.
on things where it's like I'm more like a cusp millennial.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just like talk about stuff, but we come at it from like these kind of like different angles where
Yeah.
it's like, I'm like, nah, y'all are soft now.
Yeah.
All these kids these days are soft.
Y'all ever,
And so
y'all
it's
ever
like-
butt heads on? Yeah. What do you guys butt heads on? What do you disagree on?
We don't really disagree on much, like politically. Like we create fake beef. Like we are always creating fake beef just for like whatever.
Beef, man.
Yeah.
I need to start creating more fake beef, I think.
You just gotta know someone you can trust where it's like they can pick up on it. It's like improv.
Yeah.
In a sense, like I don't do improv, but like it is kind of that idea of like I need to do this and I need you to like immediately pick up on what's going on. So it's like, or else it's not fun, and then it's like you actually are offended, and it's like now it's crazy.
Yeah. Like
Now
you really
that's
thought? Yeah, that's embarrassing.
yeah
Embarrassing
for them because they didn't pick up on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm embarrassed as well that I'm friends with them.
I do it at work all the time where I'm like, oh shit, they don't fucking know.
Did you test people like that? I used to work retail, and I would just like test people. Like I'd throw little floaters out of like saying something wild, and some people would take it so serious. I remember one of my friends, he called in.
Oh no.
It's like he never missed a day of work. All of a sudden he misses one day, or he comes in like 4 or 5 hours late. Like came in crazy late, and we were working in the morning here, like unloading semis. It's like 5 a.m. I get not everybody's super sharp at that time of the morning.
Yeah.
But this like older woman is like, well, where's Josh? And I'm like, oh,
he died.
That's all I said. I'm like, I thought everybody says that. I'm like,
yeah,
I go,
everyone.
I'm like, oh, he
Proof.
died.
This is proof.
That's
what everyone says.
I literally go, oh, he died. She's like, what? And I'm like, no, you didn't. I was like the team lead. I'm like, team lead Cameron. He said that he got in a car accident. They don't know if he's gonna make it or not. She's like, isn't he your friend? And I'm like, I don't think he's gonna make it, dude. I apparently like he went left. He wasn't supposed to go left. Boom, done.
Yeah, you're like, he's dead and I need the money, so I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here covering his shift. And she like lost her mind. And then like when he showed up, she came and found me in an aisle of the store. And she's like, it's not funny to joke about that. That's serious. She's like, I lost a friend in a car. I'm like, don't put that on me.
I'm like, yeah, a lot of people fucking die every day.
Yeah, people die
Janice,
all the time,
that's not on me.
Yeah, it's like she was like in her 60s. I'm like, you know lots of people that died.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because you're old as fuck and like everyone in your family's dead. I like that. Why? That's not my fault.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how I don't need to know that, but keep that away from me.
Yeah, and actually they died because they were so serious, and so maybe lighten up.
Yeah, bitch.
Shit.
But dude, okay, so you do that too. I've done that before. I'm like, oh yeah, he fell, he died, it was a bad trip. Like, and I'll say like a couple dumb things in a row just to test them, and then they act like that. I'm like, I can't talk to that person anymore. That's an NPC. Like, I just can't.
Yeah, like you're following a script, and I don't know. I don't know about that.
Like, break out of it a little bit.
I do have a similar story though.
Okay.
About like someone actually dying at work. So we actually, like, when I first started working in like manufacturing, I had this woman she was like training me. And she had like been in like cancer remission for like a really long time, which is like really sad.
Yeah.
And like, but we were all like, kind of just do whatever you can, and we'll pick up the slack. That was kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
And one day, like, we find out over the weekend that she passed away.
Damn.
And so she was first shift, and I eventually started working second shift. And so, you know, I was like talking, and then I was talking to this coworker, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like who trained you, like all this stuff?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like, you know, this woman, she trained me, and like she passed away." And in his mind that day, he had solidified in his brain another woman on my team instead. Like he thought it was like the other woman that I work with.
Yeah.
And so in his brain forever, he thought that she was the one who died, not the actual one who died. And so at the time, because I'm the youngest, I'm like I'm the youngest on the team. Like I have the least seniority.
Yeah.
I had to work every Saturday.
Okay.
Like all overtime, I had to work Saturday, and so did he, because he was also the lower seniority.
Yeah.
And so, like every overtime weekend, like it was me, and we would just, you know, whatever. And then one day, I just like I can't do the overtime that day. Like I'm going out of town or something, so I just can't do it. And so she comes in and covers, and he literally, like, he was like, he's like, I thought I was like seeing a ghost, like I thought that the other person like she's
Could
like,
you imagine being her? She walks in and this guy's just looking at her like she's just like doing her shit, and he's just like following her. She's like, are you gonna blink?
I truly cannot imagine, because like that building is like forever old, and like people have died in that building, so like you do sometimes think there's ghosts in there. Yeah. Especially because like he would be like the kind of guy who would like turn the lights on at the beginning and the lights off, so he'd be like pitch black, and you're just like in this like factory, so it's like kind of terrifying. And like for that to happen,
and someone he's sure in his mind is dead.
He thinks his dad for real, and I'm like, oh, he told me that, and I was like, I laughed my ass off. But like in hindsight, that's so fucking crazy.
That is wild.
But even when it is serious like that, I'll laugh. I don't care.
Yeah,
that shit's funny.
That's insane. I wonder, like, do you think did they talk about it ever in that shift? Like,
yes,
within that
like
shift,
he
did he eventually
like,
asked, like, hey, are you alive?
He eventually like talked about it. Yeah, he eventually like brought it up, but he texted me right away. He was like, I had the wrong person like dead in my mind the entire time.
Yeah.
Like I think like months had gone by, and he like truly believed that's who it was.
Yeah, it is wild, dude. That's so fun.
Isn't that so funny?
That is fun, dude.
You can't write that. You can't write that. That's just like classic, like the just mix up. Classic mix up.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Holy shit, man. Holy shit. So not talking of classic mix ups, but classic maybe I wouldn't call this a mix-up. Have you seen anything of what's going on in Mississippi lately with their new law that they proposed last week?
No, what are they doing there?
So
I don't know shit. Like, I don't know
fun.
laws. I went to Catholic school. I don't know history.
Can you look up Mississippi masturbation law?
Oh no.
So I believe it was a Democrat actually that brought this up, and it was sort of like a publicity stunt. They
always turn on you.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, I believe it's supposed to be a publicity stunt. Like, they don't actually believe this, but so Mississippi, pull this up. Switch us up so we can react to this right here.
This is it.
Mississippi
is so
lawmaker introduces contraception begins at erection act.
True. Shit.
So
I mean, not for me, but
so they he goes on to argue that like sort of like almost in the way the Bible does, like if you spill your seed and it's not in the hopes of creating a child, that's a sin, right? And they're saying that should now be illegal. And I mean,
thank God I've never done that.
and it's I mean, it's a joke, right? They're not like I guess apparently can you make that a little bit bigger so I can see, because he didn't mean this like sincerely, right? He knew it was gonna get shot down. I believe they did it so that it was like to draw attention to the fact that like why is all of this on women to like whether or not they're gonna have contraception or not.
No, he was like trying to be funny about it.
Yeah, which is pretty ballsy.
No,
in the
this
Senate,
is again
not
being able to read sarcasm.
Yeah, I think that they just didn't get it. So it would make it unlawful if this act was to go through for real. It would make it unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. It includes exceptions for sperm donation and using contraception to prevent fertilization. But yeah, so your first offense, it looks like, would be around 1,000, and then 5,000 for a second offense, 10,000 for any other subsequent offenses. So that's kind of cool.
I like that.
I think that's kind of sick.
All you people in the streets, you're all fucking sick.
Yeah.
You're all nasty and you're sick, and I'm glad that finally we're turning this country around, because it's been going to shit.
Dude, I mean these southern states though, low key, like,
no, I love them.
They're just like, these people are gonna start like just like jizz is gonna come out of everywhere. Like they're just gonna ooze and jizz because dude, they can't think about it, dude. No. Where is it gonna go? They're like banning porn. I think they banned porn in Florida.
No.
So they're banning porn in these southern states.
Oh, so you can deal with banned porn.
Sure.
Use your imagination.
Sure.
Know.
But if you ban porn and then next you're like, okay, now you can't even no boners unless that's for somebody, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do in school, man? I was bricked up pretty much all of grade school.
Listen, I've been a Christian my whole life, so
get the fuck out of here.
I never had no impure thoughts about no nothing.
I don't know. Like, could you imagine though? Like, like there's the whole the people like were making fun of, like people were calling ICE on their neighbors and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was this big frenzy about it. Could you imagine like calling the cops
this
on
actually,
your homie jerking off?
I hate to be so real, but this like actually happened with like gay people in like the 60s. Like the 50s, 60s, yeah.
Really?
Where like cops would like pretend to be gay, and then they would like arrest gay men. Cause like the fear, I might be getting the dates wrong, but there was this fear that when there was like this Soviet threat that because homosexuality was like, not allowed and was so taboo that these men could be coerced by like being like saying like threatened to be outed, and that threat itself could be used to coerce them to like become
a Soviet spy.
Yes. And so the
solution was to trick them and then arrest them instead of just being nicer to them?
Or just like if you saw them, right, they would just get arrested. It was crazy. Yeah.
What?
Isn't that nuts?
So like we were being so homophobic, right? Outwardly homophobic and scared of gay people essentially, that we were like,
clearly
we thought that way how we were treating them would maybe turn them into Soviets, so then we decided to just triple down on that instead of
pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
This is why I don't like reading shit. I don't like reading shit that's like real, because then I learned that I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that is fucked up. I mean, I would be pretty pissed if I was like beating my shit and
it's like, fucked up. We didn't lock up more of them. Honestly, in my
opinion. Get the fuck out
in my opinion.
Could you imagine if you were just like, you know, when you're home alone and you can beat it with the sound on, like you don't gotta like turn the sound down or like.
I literally don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, never mind. Well, you know, some days if you got the place to yourself, you know, mom's gone, dad's gone.
My family's going to church on Sunday, and we really love it. He came with us.
I should go.
Yeah. We'll pick you up.
Yeah? I'll go.
Just put some khakis on, we'll take you.
I don't think
I say that to Sarah all the time.
Really? Whenever she says something out
Sarah says something so crazy in the group chat sometimes,
yeah.
Where I literally once I just screenshotted a Google search of churches near me. Because she lives around the corner from me, and I was like, girl, we're going.
Go. Yeah.
We gotta go.
But for real,
I mean,
though.
you gotta go, and I'll volunteer to take you.
Yeah. I should go. I could use the cleansing, potentially.
Yeah. I was thinking about this recently. Did you go to Catholic school at all?
No.
Okay.
Do I give that vibe that maybe I did?
Well, it's always like so hard to tell, I think.
No, I didn't.
But I went to Catholic school, and so there's like the rites, right? So it's like baptism, communion, confirmation, marriage. Like there's all these rites.
I was baptized though.
Okay, yeah. So you did like a rite.
Sure. Yeah.
But in 3rd grade is essentially when we start doing first communion. So that's when you do your first communion, all this shit. But before you do that, you have to do confession. So you're like in 3rd grade. So you're like what, like 8?
What are you confessing to in 3rd grade?
So this is what I was like thinking about. I'm like, this is crazy. It is actually so crazy in like retrospect to like be like, why were we
being forced to confess?
Being forced to confess at 3. I was like, I don't know. I hit my sister.
Yeah,
like I don't know, like
dude, and they don't. Forgive me if I'm my ignorance on this. They don't like do anything with that information, right? They're just like supposed to just like accept you, right? They're like, thank you for confessing, but now you move on.
Well, no, they like punish. I mean, they don't punish you, but they make you do like 10 Hail Marys or some shit. Like
no, they don't.
Yeah, they do. They're like, go do like 3 Hail Marys.
What's a Hail Mary?
The prayer.
Oh, like you say a prayer? I
thought
like you were talking like.
Yeah,
no. A deep pass.
Hey,
or like
yeah.
Suicide.
Hey, go turn some games around and then.
yeah.
God loves winners.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Okay. No. You had to actually say the prayer.
Yeah, you had to say a couple of prayers. Yeah.
I don't know what that would do for you, but how many?
But it's crazy. No, it's crazy. It's like the guilt that they indoctrinate at such a young age.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you should feel bad about something. You're 8 years old.
What if you had nothing? What if you were just?
I'm sure there was dorks out there who were just perfectly fine, and yet they're out here like, I don't know, like.
They probably confessed to something stupid. Dude.
Yeah,
like
something
I ate
so
my eraser
dumb.
or something.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't even know what I would have said in 3rd grade.
Like I don't like my mom's lunch. Like I don't like.
Yeah. Do you think like any of the? Do you say it to like who your pastor or? Who
Yeah, I mean, there's like the whole in the movies
like in the
when you see a thing. Yeah, that's literally what it's like.
Do you think any kids went in there and they were like, I didn't do anything, but dad hits mom or like
100%.
And the
some
pastor's
shit
just sitting there like,
to have happened.
Do they still make you say a prayer? They're like, well, can you just tell your dad the prayer? I don't know. Like,
no, that's when the priest comes around and hugs the kid.
Do they do that?
Probably. I mean, historically, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're hugging the kids. They're touching the kids. Unfortunately.
That is sad.
That little wall, it's not helping.
Yeah.
The little screen's not happening.
Dude, they probably cut a hole in there.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I don't
know.
Yeah, these are children.
So, anyways, you're going to hell, which is crazy. Have a blast. Don't worry, you'll get some color in your skin there for sure.
I'll be okay.
You'll cook, yeah.
So yeah, we're not jerking off in Mississippi anymore.
We never were.
How do you know?
First of all, we never were.
How do you know if an acquaintance or a friend maybe secretly hates you? What would be a tell?
I don't want to give that away because I think.
Yeah, you know. Oh, you
no.
Oh, you know that.
You
secretly hate some people.
I'm like a really bad friend sometimes.
Oh yeah.
It's not that I hate people. I would never just like hate people. Actually, I'm very open about shit like that. Where I'm just like, I don't want to talk to you. How do you know like someone?
Like, how can you tell someone doesn't fuck with you? You know, like you can kind of get the vibe. Like, I'm a bartender, right? So I like can kind of tell. Like I can not fuck with someone.
Like when you watch dates, you're like,
yeah.
She's not into him.
Yeah.
Damn.
I've seen first dates and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be rough. And I see it the other way too. I can tell they're definitely like I can get a good read on it, even if they're not being like expressive about it. Or you can just kind of tell like if a guy's like approaching a girl and maybe she's uncomfortable, or even if like one patron over here is making this couple over here uncomfortable, but by just the shit that they're saying like out loud. Like, how can you tell other than like?
There's so many. Truly, the way that like comedy industry changes so much of like how you socialize, because like to me, it's like, oh, if like I'm around and like you're just willing to like fuck around, like we're good. Like if we can just like fuck around, we're good. But if it's like it takes like so much planning sometimes, it feels like kind of a natural now. Even though that's how most people operate. Like most people just like make plans and stuff. Sure. But it's like when you can't. But I'm like, when you're not just like willing to just like fuck around and clown. Yeah. I'm like, why do you hate me?
Oh,
I'm like, why won't you come out? Because if someone literally called me and said, hey, I'm out at so and so place, come out, and I'm free. Shit, I'm there.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, that's a good friend.
But if they're like next Wednesday, let's do lunch here with these people, you're like,
I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, lunch. I'm like, first of all, I'm at work, and I'm like, and you know that on Wednesdays I'm doing this mic, so like, I don't know why you're asking me.
Yeah.
So like there is such like a rhythm to like the people that you meet in comedy because like you're all doing the same thing every night.
Yeah.
In a sense, so it kind of feels like that there's so many like natural friendships that just like flow that way,
Yeah.
and like everything else. No, I love my friends. I love all my friends so much, but there are sometimes I'm like, you guys know that I do this. You know that I do this.
You know where I'm at.
It's like you can invite me out for coffee because I'm not busy in the day.
I love that too. Like, so being in the service industry, right? Like Fridays and Saturday nights usually are off limit. That's when I'm making my money.
Yeah.
Right? And I could not tell you how many times friends or family or whatever are like, oh yeah, we're planning to do this thing. Would you be down to do this in like a month? And I'm like, sure. And they're like, we're thinking like this Saturday. And I'm like,
yeah.
So not only do I have to go to this fucking baby shower I didn't want to go to, but now I have to also sacrifice $800. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm just
I don't know, like
super pumped to do that.
There is something about like being so busy because like I love all my friends so much. Like I'm someone who's like met so many people. Like genuinely, like I care about so many people.
Yeah.
But it's like it's just not always like
possible
to
fill all those cups,
do it,
right? Yeah.
and it sucks. Like I remember, and not to toot my own horn here, but like I got invited to like 4 or 5 New Year's Eve parties, and I went to all of them.
How the fuck did you do that?
And I felt bad, and I almost felt worse.
How much time do you spend at each one?
Right. I almost felt I had a route, and they were all themed. I had like 4 different outfits. Like it was
Jesus Christ.
I'm like not even kidding. Like but I'm like I'm gonna go. Like I need you to know that I will show up.
I respect that because that's something that I really try to do for people.
But then I feel bad because I'm like, oh, I gave you like half an hour.
Ooh.
I gave you like 45 minutes. Like I barely even got because like the party starts at 7, 8. And I'm trying to like smash at midnight at this one location, so like I gotta get all this stuff out of the way, and so I can so I can get to the final destination. Shit, like
yeah.
So I'm like putting it like, and then I feel almost worse, like yeah, like I just didn't spend enough time with people, and that's what sucks. But it's like there's so much people that like I'm like watching and I'm paying attention to what they're doing, and I'm really like supporting you from afar. Like you post stuff that you think is cool, that you're excited about. I will always like that stuff. Before like the algorithm got super crazy, like 10, 15 years ago, like 2011, 2010, when like we really started first talking about mental health on like social media and stuff. Like so much of my like social interaction is mediated through like it's primarily like Instagram, and like it used to be Twitter, but like Instagram, like shit like that. And I like hardly text.
Yeah.
I maybe text like 4 people.
Yeah.
A week.
That's almost too serious, right?
Yeah, but like I'm on Instagram like that's how I talk to people.
Yeah, yeah.
But I remember when it was like a really big thing that like mental health was like really starting to get affected by like social media.
Yeah.
Because like people started to see how like fake things were, or like they felt like they weren't living lives that were as cool, or like and so like I remember there was this big authentic push, like, and I'm still in that vein, right? This is why like truly still shit post, because it's still this authentic vein of like 2012, 2014, 2015, where there was like a real problem where people were like, I feel like everything I see is like fake. And like if I don't post something cool, that it's like not valid, or it's like it's not like worth sharing. So like I've always had this policy where if I see something that you are so excited to post about, regardless of like if I think it's corny as shit, like I don't give a fuck about your dog, honestly. Sometimes like sometimes the dog's cute as fuck, and I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in it. Like
other times, fuck that dog.
Other times I'm like, that dog, girl.
Some dogs are ugly.
Some
People
dogs
won't
are
admit,
ugly.
I love all dogs, but some of them are ugly.
Some of them are ugly. It's the same thing with babies. I'm like, cutest baby. I'm like, your baby. Damn.
No, a lot of babies are scary looking.
That baby's
honestly.
gonna be smart for sure. Like
hopefully.
Hopefully, shit.
Shit.
But it's like there is that stuff where it's like a lot of people hate on stuff like that, especially as you get older. Everyone's like, oh, you're all boring now. But it's like I've always believed that like if you're posting something that like you genuinely care about, because it's like you went out of your way. You're like, oh, I really want to share this. You know, it's like I'm gonna give you that like.
Yeah.
I don't care like how unaesthetic this photo is. I don't care. Like I'm gonna like that stuff. And so like I still always believe in like this authenticity where it's like I'm always gonna be watching people. Yeah. Even though the algorithm is fucked now, and like there's stuff where it comes up because I've been scrolling for so long, and then I see it and I'm like, oh my god, I've missed like 3 months of this person like posting stuff. And like I like now I feel like disconnected from who they are, and so I need to like go catch up on like, oh, what's been going on with her? Yeah, what's going on with him? Like it's
It is crazy, like how the timeline used to work, where it was like sequential. Like
people people truly don't know like how crazy it's like.
It was so much better, and I do think like Instagram, like every once in a while they'll like have a new feature that like tries to recapture some of that old magic, right? Where like I think even when stories first came out, they were like, okay, well, we want to steal this from Snapchat. Maybe this will help it be a little bit more authentic. And then I think carousels came out, and that was kind of like the dump. The dump became like the new like.
'Cause that's what we used to do on Facebook.
Yeah, like that became
in 2010. We used to have a fucking.
But before, like even Instagram, like you used to post just random dumb shit. Like it'd be like literally.
Us at Walmart.
Yeah.
Me and my friends at Walmart. Shit.
People, fierce fucking whatever, bro. Like it was dumb shit, and it was cool. I don't know.
Yeah, we were just like taking selfies by our lockers. Like, like it was just nothing serious. And now, yeah, I mean, I hate now that my life is like so serious, but that's why I like to have the balance of like posting crazy shit on like my stories where it's like. None of this matters, and I just like want to be seen. I don't know. I think we all want to be seen.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that people like think that's so corny, where they're like, "Oh, you just want attention." Yeah, we all fucking do. Like, why would you pretend that?
That
we
is
don't?
what a social media is, right? Like in general.
Yeah.
If I didn't need it, or if I didn't want it, I would just. Not do it.
They're just different formats of getting your social validation.
Yeah.
Like some people do like I don't know, like beer making classes.
Yeah,
whatever makes you feel like you're seen.
Yeah, D&D, any of that shit.
Yeah,
man. People do it.
It's like I just like to be on the internet.
Yeah,
I respect I was a Tumblr kid. Like I was.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that? How were those days?
I have friends that I met on Tumblr.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never used Tumblr once.
I have a friend Scott out of Ireland. We met on Tumblr. Like during COVID when I was like home all the time and I was like sad. Like me and him would just like FaceTime.
Really?
And we've been like friends since like 2000.
What did you meet? How did you meet on Tumblr? What was it like?
Well, you would just like see what people post, and like if they post like photos, right? It was always like, oh hey, like I like that shit too. It's like whatever. Then you would just like talk about it or whatever, because it was just like always instant messaging.
Yeah.
And like that's how SoundCloud was too. That's another thing people don't talk about. Yeah. SoundCloud used to be so fucking dope because everyone would be putting out music for free. They'd all be doing stuff. And you would just like message each other on SoundCloud, be like, "Hey, I love that beat. It's not for download. Can I get a download of it?"
Yeah.
And you would just like meet people. I got into shows. Like I got guest listed on shows
through SoundCloud.
Through SoundCloud, like doing stuff like that, like years and years ago.
I hate that I missed like prime SoundCloud. So like I was.
When it was just like the waveform and it was like this.
Yeah, man. Like I was there right at the end of it. Right at the end of it.
They got ads and then all the record. So yeah, I was talking to someone about this recently. It was when when it changed was when the record labels started putting out previews of songs. Mm-hmm. They sold out. Yeah,
they started with the previews, and then now they have a full-on like distribution company through SoundCloud.
And they do all the ads now and the pro. I'm like, we didn't need any of this. Like this was, if you ask for like donations, I don't know if they ever. I'm sure if you like asked for donations. Yeah, you probably could have gotten away with it, but also it's like that you weren't in it for the right reason.
Yeah, and like how much my thing with like a site like that, like if it runs as bare bones as it was like that, that's all we needed from it. And if it was doing well, like they always act like they need to raise these funds to like keep developing the thing. It's like no, it works great.
Yeah, I mean there's like maintenance. Sure, you got to do all that.
Yeah,
probably
you got to
like
keep things up, servers, and keep. Yeah. You have some staff. I'm not saying that, but like you guys have. There's ads on the sidebar. Like you're still generating some income from Google AdSense and shit. Like y'all couldn't figure that out. You could just make a cool thing and let it be a cool thing. Yeah. You had to just like keep maximizing as much profits as possible until now. I don't know. I don't even think I have SoundCloud on my phone anymore. You know.
I still do because I got to listen to Boiler Rooms. I got to listen to Boiler Room sets for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Yeah. I haven't touched the app in years probably.
I still like. It's like a sad. Like it's like it's like you're going to like your dying dog. It's like fuck. Like I'm gonna get the last little moments with you.
Yeah, that is.
It's like you're weak. You're in a weakened state.
That is all you have left.
Like time really just pass.
Sad.
And so yeah, I go to SoundCloud like a dying dog. And I'm like, one last run, buddy.
Yeah.
One last run.
Dude, that's all we have.
There's going to be a day where it's like that app goes dark.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't, but
yeah.
I hate to
put they'll stick around for a little longer. We got a little bit more time.
Yeah, Spotify is kind of like like all these big streaming companies, they're like fucking it up in kind of a way where I think we're going to need
something.
Yeah.
Something else. Maybe it won't be SoundCloud, but something adjacent to that. A couple of things I want to get to today before we wrap. Valentine's Day is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna be celebrating Valentine's Day this year?
Yeah, I'm hoping to find me a nice lady.
Oh
and,
yeah, yeah.
Really settle down. I think this is the year.
What what are like the don'ts? What is a way that someone could mess up asking you to be their Valentine?
Oh.
Like what would be a for sure like I'm curbing you? Yes, you say that to me.
So kind of in the vein of like the whole friendship thing, and like when you work in like an industry like stand up or just like live entertainment where you're like out all the time. And I listened to another podcaster talk about this recently too, Caleb Heron on his podcast, because he's also like he's a comedian, but he's like huge. He's like this huge podcaster. And one of the things that he was talking about, which I so agree with, and I say this all the time, I need someone who can recognize that I'm busy, understand the complex, I mean, I don't have that complex of a schedule, right? It's Monday nights, Wednesday nights, sometimes Tuesdays, for sure Friday, Saturday nights, right? I'm booked. For those 4 days, for sure I'm booked almost every week.
Yeah.
Understand that and be able to plan something that I don't have to like think about. Like, don't make me have to like really consider my schedule.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to ask me out, know that about me. Know that and just be like, hey, Saturday afternoon, let's just go do this.
This time, yeah.
Let's just go do this. Or like, hey, Tuesday, let's go do this.
Do you like going out, or would you prefer, like, because you're running around all the time, would you prefer something in? If they were like, hey,
I usually am
cook
like
for you, like, just chill, we'll just chill at the crib.
Yeah, like, I do very much like a chill. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm not like too, I don't like to set this expectation that I'm like I have like really high standards, where it's like I'm not gonna go to like a cocktail bar. Like I want to go hang out at like a dive bar. Like I want like the date to feel like it's naturally just like what we do, not like this kind of elevated experience,
this formal thing.
Yeah, like I don't like that as much.
It does. It's more like a job interview then, on like a first or second date. Right?
Yeah, but like I mean, like I'm going on a date tomorrow. And so it's going to be like, oh, we're going to go to like a bar that like we typically don't go to.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, that's nice, right? It's more of like a cocktail bar, whatever. I'm okay with that after we've like had a lot of let's just hang out and like watch like a movie together and just like chill and just like talk.
Yeah.
And like not have this like, or like just go out for drinks, like in a casual sense of just like, oh, me and my friends are out. Do you want to just come hang out with my friends, right? It's like, not this whole crazy formal thing. And also, if you can hang with my friends, we're good.
Yeah, that's a green flag for
That's
sure.
a green flag.
Yeah, it is interesting. Sometimes people just don't mesh with friends. I've had friends.
It sucks. Like, it does suck.
They bring the girl around, or they bring their boyfriend around, and you're just like,
damn, this guy sucks, dude.
Yeah.
It's a huge bummer.
Do you tell them? Do you ever tell them like, hey, your boyfriend sucks, or hey, your girlfriend sucks?
Usually, like, I get brought in pretty early into the interview process.
Ooh,
so it's like they like, okay, serious. But also my friends are, I have like, especially again in comedy, when like you're so hyper vigilant of like the like how people interact. I've had friends who like bring their significant others for like the first time. Like they've been hooking up, they're like, okay, we're maybe making it a little serious. Let's meet the friend group, and then we'll meet them and we're all kind of like, okay, let's see. And then, the person who brought them will be like, yeah, I could tell that wasn't good.
Yeah, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, he was bombing. Like he was bombing the function. Like,
fuck, dude.
Yeah, and so it's like you don't ever really have to. They kind of know in the moment. They're like, they're seeing it happen in real time.
That's intimidating to date a comic. Then you gotta pass the vibe check with all the other comics. At some point, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
But like when you're in, it's like so fucking gold. It's so gold.
Yeah.
Like,
and then if that comic fucks it up with that person, the rest of the comedians are gonna be like, "How the fuck did you mess that up with them, bro?"
Usually, yeah, or like, yeah, but yeah, there have been like I brought this individual around, and I was like, oh shit, like we're just drinking, come hang out. Passes the vibe checks. I'm like, this is it. I'm like, you can just hang. Yeah. I'm like, that's all we need. Like, that's all I need at all.
Peace, man.
That
not stress.
And like, you just know my schedule. Like, you get my schedule, and you can like work around, not like work around my schedule, but like just recognize that like this is when I'm busy, and you can plan something outside of that.
Deal.
We're in. Like, that's
money.
it. That's
all
it.
you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
And you have to kiss well. I don't know. Like, if you don't, that sucks.
I guess that's fair as well. Is there anything else we didn't touch on today that we need to get to before we?
I don't know. I feel like I fucking talked too long.
I feel like we got into a lot of stuff.
And I love to talk.
Good. I mean, I feel like we could do a whole nother episode. I'm going to come and do your show when you guys are ready to film again. I'll come over and do the podcast. That'd be fun.
Shit. I think we're just right now doing it on Sarah's couch, so we'll figure something out.
That's comfy. Yeah. I can do that. Yeah. I'll bring some extra mics if we need it. Whatever you guys
need. Look at that.
Whatever we need. We'll have her on too. Do you have any exciting dates or anything coming up people should look out for? Your Instagram's linked in the description right now, so they can check that out as well.
Yeah, check that out. I'm photographing kind of all over the place right now.
When's the next time you're going to be performing live? People can come see you.
So I'm very excited that I am hosting at the Laughing Tap on Friday night for the first time. So that's kind of like the, host, like there's the guest spot where you do like 5 minutes unpaid. Yeah. But then there's like you're getting booked by the club to host. So I don't know, but does this come out?
This is today.
It's live.
It's live. It'll be like processed this evening, and then it'll be back up tomorrow morning.
But yeah, if people are watching this week, Friday, February 7th. 7:30 Laughing Tap will be hosting the Local Laughs Showcase. So and then I have some random shows like here and there in like I'm in Rhinelander.
Where's that?
Like north. It's like 5 hours. It's like not gonna be worth it, but I'm gonna do it.
That's cool.
I'm kidding. If the booker sees this,
do they have Wi-Fi? So they have Wi-Fi in Rhinelander, whatever you just said. That's cool.
Shit, I don't know.
Do you ever book something and you're like, where the fuck is this? And then you show up and you're like, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I have. Yeah. I mean, that's how you get your chops though in like these kind of tough rural rooms.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that's gotta be. I'm just picturing. So I'm from Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. Okay. A smaller town. Right. Yeah. There's much smaller up north. I'm sure, but I just can't imagine like trying to set up and do stand up in front of any of the people that like live in that town. Like the people that
you'd be surprised. You'd be so surprised. Like I do my shit, and people like vibe with it.
Yeah,
like they're not mad. Like I always think they're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me here today. Damn. And then at the end of it, I'll be like, I'm gonna fuck all your husbands, and they're like, yeah.
They're like crazy. No,
it's like nuts. It's nuts.
There you go. Well, hey,
they just want to have fun. They're just like anyone else, right?
I'm just surprised that there's even the scene for it. That's what's cool to me.
I mean, it's not regular. It's like maybe a month show or like an every other month show. So it's like you can kind of get everyone who would be into that like together. Oh, okay. And so it's like there's a lot of like different rhythms for different like cities where, like I told you, like Don't Tell here is like once a month. Chicago, they're doing 3 shows a weekend. Wow. So it's like it depends on like the volume that you get, because you want to be fair to we can do shows, we can do as many shows as whatever, but it's like if you're not kind of selling them out, you want to be able to like kind of give that kind of opportunity. Yeah. So
you don't want to be doing it every other day and it's for 7 people,
right? You want to to feel special. So
that's cool, man. Well, definitely check out the Instagram and the link at Trash Pimp, which is iconic fucking handle, by the way. We talked about that before we went live. Check that out. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff linked in the description too. Thank you for making the time today.
Absolutely, as well. I had so much fun.
Good. I'm glad.
This is it. And I met 2
we
mutuals. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Also, I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in live today, as well as people that are listening or viewing days after over on Spotify or here on YouTube. Quick shout out to our patrons. They're up on the screen right now. If you're interested in getting behind the scenes access to extra videos, extra podcasts, as well as a series where I break down, I mix, master, write, record every single one of my songs, go to patreon.com/Darren Rita. You can help support the channel for as little as $1. Also want to say a quick shout out to Alpine House 2 for sponsoring another episode of the show. That's at Alpine House 2 on Instagram. And it's been the 292nd episode of the Detox Podcast. I'll see you guys next